Assalamu alaikum guys, this is Puya. In this tutorial we're going to talk about the standard data types in Python. First of all, we're going to talk about numeric types, which are int, float, complex boolean. We're not going to deep dive into the operations that can be done with this numeric data types. We will cover them in future videos. In the sequence type sections, we're going to talk about strings. We're going to talk about indexing, how to access different characters inside a string, how to get a slice of a string, and what does it mean that the strings are immutable? They cannot be changed or modified. And the final point is string formatting, which we'll see right now. So, numeric types. As I said, I'm not going to focus on numeric types in this video. Just as mentioned, introduced earlier in the previous videos, we're just going to see how to create these numeric variables or numeric data types. To create a numeric data type, just pass in a numeric value or assign a numeric variable, numeric value to a variable like this. For example, variable 1 is equal to 1, or value 1 is assigned to variable 1. And as you can see, these are printed here. And quick note, the last line of a cell is just printed out, okay, like this. It returns to the console. You don't need to print the last line. Just hit enter, hit shift enter, and you'll see the output in like this. Okay, let me clear the output. So okay, this is better right now. We can no, all outputs. Let me clear all output, not just clear. We're going to have a fresh filling because without seeing the outputs, you can pause the video and guess what will be the output. Okay, how to create int, as we mentioned. Long integers are int again in Python. How long it is, the type is integer in Python. For float like this, 0.5, we've got a data type called float. And complex data type, you need to create a complex data type, you need to add a j at the end of your variable. For example, 3.14 j, which means it will be a complex numeric data type. It's shown here. Okay, what are booleans? Booleans are used for conditions, which, for example, if a statement and while a statement, we're going to cover them in future videos. If a condition satisfied, the output will be true. If it's not, the output will be false. And we're going to use this true and false throughout our course a lot. But how to create a true or false variables? The true, it starts with uppercase T, and the false starts with uppercase false. As you can see, the color of these values are different from the colors of the variable names. So this is it for numeric types. As I said, we're going to cover it in future videos. So let's talk about strings or str in Python. How to create a string? To create a string, you can use single quotation or double quotation. The result is the same. And here we have create var, which is hello world, exclamation mark, and the same goes here with double quotation. And the output is like this, hello world, and it prints the output. So how we can duplicate or a string using multiplication sign, or by multiply it to 2, we're going to have 2 hello world concatenated. If you increase it, for example, to 3, you're going to have 3 hello worlds concatenated, and for whatever number, let's keep it with 2. And for example, here this is L, and I want to have 10 L's concatenated with each other in a singular string. As you can see, we can do it simply by just multiplying to the number we want to. And again, here, how we can just concatenate 2 different strings. For example, I want to concatenate hello world var to a test, or let me just put it like this. 4 equals to var plus test. Let me put down here. Okay, as you can see, to concatenate 2 strings, we can use plus sign as well. Plus sign will concatenate 2 different strings with each other and will create another string. So you can see var4 is created by var plus test. This is the output that it shows, and here is the space is here as well. So using the len function, we can get the length of or a string. The var, which is hello world, here using the len we get its length, or we count the number of characters that are inside that variable. For example, here hello world, let me count the characters. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. As I said, there are 12 characters. So using a len, you can get the length of your string. It simply counts the number of characters which are in that string. So very important section, indexing, how to index, how to get the characters inside the string using indexing. So very important note, in Python, indexing starts at 0. Indexing for lists, tuples, strings, all of them, all the indexing starts at 0. Okay, this is very important, very important. So here, for example, when we say how to use indexing, by using brackets like this one, this is the starting bracket and this is the ending bracket. You pass in the index number you want to get from your string. Our string is var, which is hello world, and here we say index, which is the character which is at index 2. Okay, as I commented here, this character at index 2 is the third character. Why? And this is L. Why the third character? As I said, indexing start from 0. So H index is 0, E is 1, L is 2, second L is 3, which means the third character, which is L, it is at index 2. Okay, so whenever we say I want the character which is at index 2, we just simply mean the third character. Okay, as you can see, this is L, and you simply can change it to 5. The character at index 5 is this just empty space here, just a space, so nothing is printed. Actually, it is printed space, but let me change it to 6 so we can see that value. As you can see here, at index 6 we have that value. So let me change it to 2 again. That's it. So this is how we can get access. We can access to different characters in a string. So what is a slicing? Slicing means, for example, we want just a subset of characters. Okay, not just one character. In that case, we're going to use the slicing. So what is the slicing? Slicing is like this. For example, here, let me print it out. Here we say, hello world, I want characters that starts at index 2 and ends at index 7. As mentioned here, slicing includes the starting index and excludes the ending index, which means the character at the last index is not included in the output slice. Here, let me show you again. It starts from index 2, index 0, index 1, index 2, L, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is index 7. It excludes index, the last index, okay? So the O is not printed out, okay? This is very important. You should notice it all the time. Pay attention to it. The last index is excluded. So there are several different ways of doing a slicing. If you don't specify the last or the ending index, the Python simply will print whole a string starting from 2. Okay, it won't specify an ending for it. It says, okay, if the ending is not specified, it means that the ending is the last character. It goes till the end and prints even the last index. Okay. And if you don't specify the first index, simply, or the starting index, it simply starts from the beginning till the third one here, as you can see. 0, 1, 2, and 3. The third one, as mentioned earlier, is not included or is excluded. If you don't specify the first one or the starting and the ending string, simply it will print out the whole string from the beginning to the end. And what are negative indexing? Let me just specify negative here. This is important. The negative indexing starts from the end. For example, let's start from this one. -1. -1 simply says exclamation mark. And as you can see, exclamation mark is the last character. Simply it says print out or return the last index. So there are several interpretations for this, but the one that I like is like this. For example, this is index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3, index 4. Or we can do it in the reverse form. Index 4, index 3, index 2, index 1, index 0, and let's go to the end. It will be index -1 because this is index 0, and it will be -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Simply. And when we say return index -1, it means the last one. When you say return -2, simply says -1, -2. It will return D. Okay. So negative indexing is possible in Python. If you wanted to access to the last index, you should do len. Okay, because most of the times you want to access the strings inside of 4. Okay, it's not just like hello world, which you know what it is. There are, for example, 100, 200 strings and you don't know the length of them. So for example, you should have do like this: print var len string var -1. This would be the last one because len var returns the number of the characters, which are 12 characters, and the latest character needs to be minus by 1, the latest character, because there are the indexing starts from 0, but the counting starts from 1. So you should have do this, and the Python simply says remove the len. Okay, remove the len, and I know what you're talking about. If you say -1, remove the len. But if you didn't want to remove the len, the same goes here. Okay, we want to return the variable that is exactly in this index. But the Python says just simply, okay, if you give me a minus number as an indexing, I know that you're mentioning you mean for me to start from the end. So we can simply remove this len variable. So as I said, different there are different interpretation for this. Let me remove this one. Or why not? Let me just add it at the end so we can have access to different interpretation as well. Exclamation mark. So, what is the stepping? As we mentioned, for example, here from 2 to 7, it is started from index 2, which was L, index 3, index 4. It just chooses the next one with the with distance of 1 in terms of indexing, okay? Index 2 and index 3. What about we want index 2 and index 5? For example, we want to specify a stepping or a stride. In here, step or stride, we want it to be 2, okay? Not just 1. As you can see, let me print here. As you can see, hello world. We start from 0, the first one. The starting is included. The first one to the fifth one, or the one at index 1 before the one specified here, which is index 4. But we don't want the steps to be 1. We want the steps to be 2. And as you can see, the one here at index 0 is H. And the second one, which is printed out or returned, is L, which means the stride or the step is 2. 1 here the E is passed because the step is 2. So this is how you can specify the stepping at when you are doing this slicing. And one very, very important note, which is very handy for me, I always use it. Just let's see the output. It simply said the whole string, and the stepping should be -1. These are column, by the way. We use these columns to specify starting, ending, and the step. In this code snippet, we say start from, when you don't specify, it means just to start from the beginning till the end. Okay, the left and the right of the column is empty, which means start from the beginning till the end. But the indexing should be -1. Instead of just going from H to E, just go from H to -1, from -1 to -2, from -2 to -3. This is an interpretation. I like it, and I really use it most of the times when I want to how can I say it? When I want to loop over a list or a sequence data type from the end to the beginning, I simply just use this slicing to get the whole slice, but with a step of -1 from the end. You can see exclamation mark DLROW, which is simply world from right to left, which is very handy. Just remember it when you want to do a reverse list or a string. It could come in handy, and it's very simple. So let's talk about how to return the index of a specified character. We're here, or character is D. How we can specify the index of that character or of that value. Simply just use the method index and pass in the character you have. And by the way, for characters, the same goes for the character as well. This is a string. It's not like other programming language that the they differ between a character and a string. Same goes for Python, all of them are the same. So you want to you want to access D, and you want to know what is the index of D. Just simply use the index method. Quick note, var dot and hit tab. Here, all the, let me do it again. All the methods that you can have access for using with strings are here. For example, one of them is lower. When you use lower, it converts all the uppercases to lower cases, like this, for example. In var, simply var was H and W was uppercases, but with lower, the Python converts them to lowercase characters. Or I think there is an upper as well, which converts all these characters to uppercase. There are several methods here that you can check them. Check their description as well, which I'm going to show the description of index. Click inside this parentheses, as you can see here. Click inside of it. The cursor should be here, not inside the string, here. As you can see, the parentheses are focused. It says whatever you do, it's going to affect this. It is going to be written inside index. Hit shift, then tab. It opens the docker string of this method, and click on this plus so you can see the full view of this docker string. As you can see, it says s, which stands for variable, or the first character of string, dot index. This is how we can use this method. It says simply the sub string. It explain it here. It explains it here. Let's read it from the beginning. Return the lowest index in S, where S means S refers to your variable, the string variable. In S, where substring sub is found. Substring sub. You don't need to pass in a character. For example, hello world exclamation mark. We can pass in that too. Okay, like, or for example, you can pass in the W or different cell, so it will be saved for you. For example, var.index WOR says it starts at index 6. 0 0.1234 0 point, sorry, 0 1 2 3 4 5 6. It starts at index 6. So let us check it again. Open it again. It says where substring sub, this one is found. The lowest index is found, such that sub is contained within S, start and end. Start and end, they are inside brackets, which means whatever comes inside a bracket in the docker string, it means it's optional. There's optional arguments. Optional means you can pass it in, or you can just simply don't pass it. Simply ignore them. Optional argument start and end are interpreted as in a slice notation. Simply it says this is starting and the ending arguments are the exact same one we used for the slicing. The exact same one we used here, starting and ending. Okay, so using the indexing, we can say, for example, this is the stuff from this index to this index. Just check in if you can find this this substring or not, this character, if it is only one character, or this substring or not. As you can see, it says it starts from character index 10. You can count it again. This was 6, 1, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, it starts from index 10. So this is how you can use indexing, and this is how you can use shift tab. to see the docstring. Let me add here shift plus open up the docstring to open up docstring. So very important section, strings are immutable. What does immutable mean? Immutable means you cannot change or modify that string. For example, this is our hello world, okay? Consider I want to delete the second character using the del built-in function. How to delete it? Let me run the code, and as you can see, it says typo. str object does not support item deletion. We cannot delete item, a character inside of your string because strings are immutable. You cannot modify them. You cannot, for example, delete a character inside of them, or you cannot simply replace a character with another character. For example, here I want to do this, how to replace the space at index 5 with an underline. Okay, for example, we have hello world and I want to convert it to hello underline word. Simply I say this is 0 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, and I want to change the space to underline. Simply, why not? Let's do this. Let's say, okay, assign underline to this character. But it says str does not, str object or simply a string, does not support item assignment. You cannot assign an item to a string object. Not possible in a string. So what is the answer for this question? Okay, what is the answer? Simply the answer is that you need to create another variable. There is no roundabout here. You have to create another variable like this. Variable 1 equals to you take the first 5 characters, you take you put here the underline and any character that comes from index 6. That's how you can change strings. You have to create another string because the strings are immutable. So the last section, which is the easiest one, I guess, is string formatting. Consider you have different data types like integer or another string, and you want to use them inside of a string. Okay, so how we can do it? So how's that possible? There are several options. First of them is using these curly braces. Inside your string, these prints are just for printing. Okay, this format comes after the string. Okay, you can check it here as well. Dot format. You see, this format is a method for a string object. So you put a curly braces and you pass in a variable that contains the value that you desire, and you pass it to format, simply like this. Let me run it. As you can see, this student, the variable of a student is replaced with this curly braces. You got several curly braces, and you want to access them using indexes. You can simply specify an index for each of its braces, curly braces. You say you should access the variable at index 1, and you should access the variable at index 0. Okay, you just match them with the index of variable that you like. For example, it says the first one is student grade, and this is the second one, but the one at index or the one at index 1, which is student SSN. Okay, and as you can see, the ordering is true. It says a student with blah 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 SSN got a score of 19. Or if you have several braces, and if you don't specify the indexing for them, the Python format method will replace them with the respectively in the order. Okay, this will access the first one, and this will access the second one in the order. Okay, if you don't specify the index numbers. And you can even use KW arguments. KW is keyword argument, which has a key name and a value. Like this, for example, to the format, you say SSN equals to student SSN, and grade is equals to student grade, or simply you assign a student grade to grade. And this keyword can be used inside your string. Okay, like this. For example, when you use SSN inside the braces, and you use grade inside this curly braces, and the grade is equal to student grade, and SSN is equal to student grade. There are several approaches for string formatting, creating a string with different data types. So there's another option which uses percent sign. You can see in percent sign you can specify different types as well. For example, here you say %d and %s, which simply says digit and a string. You say the one that will be replaced in here should be a digit. For example, here student grade is 19.5. It's not a digit, it's a float. So you simply, when you specify D here, you are sure that the digit section of that, or integer section, will be printed out in this string. This is one of the strengths of this type of formatting. Or if you want the float to be printed out, you use F like this. Simply, even if it's 19, when you specify F, the float, or that will be, even if it's integer, if you specify F, the float format will be printed out. And the last formatting type, which I mainly like it, I think it's the easiest one, is just passing in F, typing in F at the beginning of your string before the single quotation or double quotation marks, like this, you put an F. When you put an F, you simply say that a string is we're going to do string formatting inside this string. And the curly braces are become like this, are become black, which means you can do coding inside them, okay? Which most of the time we don't just write, for example, a line of code, student grade plus, I don't know, plus whatever. Oh, sorry, student grade cannot be multiplied, cannot be added by an integer. I should have take this to student SFA. Okay, for example, we don't want to write down code. Most of the time we do the coding outside the string and just pass in the variables. It is super easy. For example, you just pass in the name of your variable. Okay, you don't need, for example, create different KWR here, or make sure you're putting your variables in the same order, or doing an extra indexing or whatever. Just passing your variable to it, and it will work fine. Like this. For example, the student grade should be here, and the student assistant should be here. Or here is, for example, my name, first name, last name. Let's say my name is, for example, Mohammed. Okay, that's it for the session. Please Subscribe to the channel, like the video, follow me on GitHub, and click on the bell notifier so you will be notified of future videos. Thanks for watching.